What if everything you've been told about losing weight and managing your blood sugar is not just ineffective, but is actually making the problem worse? We live in a world obsessed with calorie counting and low fat diets, yet obesity and type 2 diabetes rates continue to skyrocket. And it's because we've been attacking the symptom, not the root cause. The real puppet master behind your stubborn belly fat, your energy crashes, and those relentless sugar cravings is a single powerful hormone, insulin. Insulin is the ultimate storage hormone, and when its levels are chronically high, your body is locked into fat storing mode, making it virtually impossible to burn your existing fat stores, especially the dangerous visceral fat deep within your abdomen that hugs your organs. But here is the revolutionary, game changing truth that will flip your entire understanding of metabolism upside down. There are specific, powerful, and delicious foods that do not just slightly lower your calm insulin, but they actively work to drop your insulin levels dramatically. And in doing so, they force your body to finally, after all this time, shrink those stubborn belly fat cells. This isn't about starvation or deprivation. This is about strategic eating, about using food as your most potent medicine to reprogram your body's hormonal chemistry from the inside out. The science is clear and overwhelming. By shifting your focus from calories to hormones, specifically insulin, you can unlock a metabolic state where your body becomes a fat-burning furnace, and the key to that lock is on your plate. For decades, we've been sold a lie. The lie is that all calories are created equal, that a calorie from a sugary soda is metabolically the same as a calorie from a piece of salmon or a handful of avocado. This could not be further from the truth. Different foods have vastly different effects on your hormonal pathways. When you eat a carbohydrate-rich food, especially refined carbs like bread, pasta, sugar, and even many so-called healthy whole grain cereals, your body breaks them down into glucose, which floods your bloodstream. This rapid rise in blood sugar is a 5-alarm fire for your pancreas, which immediately secretes the hormone insulin to manage the crisis. Insulin's job is to escort glucose out of the blood and into your cells for energy. But what happens when your cells are already full? When you're constantly bombarding them with glucose from a high-carb diet, they start to resist the knock of insulin. This is a condition known as insulin resistance, and it's the precursor to type 2 diabetes and the absolute bedrock of stubborn belly fat. As your cells become resistant, your pancreas panics and pumps out even more insulin to force the glucose inside. You now have chronically high levels of insulin coursing through your veins. And remember, insulin is the storage hormone. High insulin tells your body, stop burning fat. We have an energy crisis in the blood to manage, and store all this excess energy as fat, especially around the belly. It actively inhibits the enzyme hormone sensitive lipase, which is responsible for breaking down stored fat for energy. So you are trapped in a fat storage prison, unable to access your own fat stores for fuel, constantly hungry, and storing more fat with every meal. This vicious cycle is the real reason you've been struggling. But by incorporating the foods we will discuss, you can break this cycle, reverse insulin resistance, and teach your body to burn fat as its primary fuel source, leading to effortless weight loss, stable energy, and a dramatic reduction in belly fat. The first and most crucial category of these insulin-dropping, fat-shrinking foods are dietary fats, specifically healthy, natural fats. Yes, you heard that right. After years of being vilified, fat is your powerful ally in the fight against high insulin and belly fat. But we must be specific. We are not talking about processed trans fats or the inflammatory seed oils found in many packaged foods. We are talking about the stable, anti-inflammatory, and hormone-friendly fats that have been a cornerstone of human nutrition for millennia. The first superstar in this category is extra virgin olive oil. This isn't just a cooking fat, it's a medicinal food. High quality extra virgin olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats and a potent antioxidant called oleocanthal, which has been shown in numerous studies to have powerful anti inflammatory effects, rivaling even ibuprofen. But more importantly for our discussion, studies published in journals like Diabetes Care have demonstrated that a diet rich in olive oil significantly improves insulin sensitivity. It helps your cells become more receptive to insulin's signal, meaning your pancreas doesn't have to work as hard and your insulin levels drop. Furthermore, olive oil stimulates the release of a hormone called GLP-1 from your gut, which makes you feel full and satisfied and further helps to slow stomach emptying, which in turn prevents rapid spikes in blood sugar and insulin after a meal. When you drizzle olive oil on your salad, use it to cook your vegetables or use it as a base for a dressing. You are not just adding flavor, you are actively dosing yourself with a substance that directly fights insulin resistance and promotes a metabolic environment conducive to fat burning. Another incredible fat is the medium chain triglycerides, MCTs, found abundantly in coconut oil. Unlike other dietary fats, MCTs are absorbed directly into the liver and rapidly converted into ketones, which can be used for energy without needing insulin. This unique metabolic pathway means that consuming coconut oil has a minimal impact on your blood sugar and insulin levels. In fact, research has shown that adding MCT oil to a meal can actually improve the insulin response to that meal. Furthermore, ketones themselves have been shown to have a mild appetite suppressing effect, helping you naturally eat less without feeling hungry. So, by strategically incorporating these healthy fats like olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, nuts, and seeds, you are fundamentally changing your body's fuel source and hormonal landscape, creating the perfect internal conditions for insulin levels to plummet and for belly fat cells to release their stored energy and shrink in size. Now, let's move on to the second powerhouse category of foods that drop insulin and shrink belly fat. High quality protein. Protein is absolutely non negotiable if you want to achieve a lean, healthy body. Its impact on insulin is nuanced and profoundly beneficial. When you eat protein, it does cause a modest release of insulin, but this is not the same as the damaging spike caused by refined carbohydrates. This insulin response from protein is part of a complex and elegant hormonal dance that ultimately leads to greater metabolic health and fat loss. The key player here is a hormone called glucagon. Insulin and glucagon are opposing forces. While insulin is the storage hormone, glucagon is the mobilization hormone. Its job is to tell your liver to release stored glucose and to promote the breakdown of fat for energy. When you consume a meal rich in protein, you stimulate the release of both insulin and glucagon. This balanced release is crucial. The glucagon effectively counteracts the fat storage signal of insulin, preventing it from locking your fat cells away. It's like having the brake and the accelerator working in harmony. Furthermore, protein has the highest thermic effect of food of all the macronutrients. This means your body uses up to 20-30% of the calories from protein just to digest and process it. So, if you eat 100 calories of protein, your net calorie intake is only 70 to 80 calories. This metabolic boost increases your energy expenditure throughout the day, further contributing to a calorie deficit and fat loss without you having to consciously eat less. But not all protein is created equal. To maximize the insulin dropping and belly fat shrinking effects, we need to focus on the most bioavailable and nutrient-dense sources. At the top of this list are fatty fish like wild-caught salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring. These fish are not only excellent sources of complete protein, but they are also the richest dietary source of the powerful long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. The benefits of EPA and DHA for insulin sensitivity are nothing short of spectacular. Numerous meta-analyses of clinical trials have consistently shown that supplementation with fish oil significantly improves insulin sensitivity in insulin-resistant individuals. These omega-3 fats get incorporated into your cell membranes, making them more fluid and flexible, which improves the function of the insulin receptors embedded in them. In simple terms, they make your cells more listening to insulin. So less insulin is needed to get the job done. This directly leads to lower circulating insulin levels. Additionally, EPA and DHA are potent anti-inflammatory agents. And since chronic inflammation is a key driver of insulin resistance, they attack the problem from multiple angles. Another stellar protein source is the humble egg, specifically the whole egg with the yolk. Eggs are a nutritional powerhouse, providing all 9 essential amino acids, along with a host of vitamins and minerals like choline, which is critical for liver health and fat metabolism. For years, eggs were unfairly demonized for their cholesterol content. But we now know that dietary cholesterol has a minimal impact on blood cholesterol for most people. In fact, studies have shown that eating eggs for breakfast can lead to greater feelings of fullness and reduced calorie intake for up to 24 hours compared to a carbohydrate-based breakfast like bagels, leading to greater weight loss and reductions in waist circumference. The combination of high-quality protein and healthy fats in eggs provides a sustained release of energy, preventing the blood sugar roller coaster that drives insulin spikes and fat storage. Other excellent protein choices include grass-fed beef, which has a better fatty acid profile than grain-fed, pasture-raised poultry, and collagen peptides, which can support gut health and therefore overall metabolic function. By making these high-quality proteins the centerpiece of your meals, you are building muscle, boosting your metabolism, balancing your key hormones, and creating a sustained sense of satiety that makes it easy to avoid the insulin spiking snacks that have been holding you back from achieving a flat belly. If fats and proteins are the foundation, then fibrous vegetables are the workhorses that supercharge this entire process. We are now entering the world of carbohydrates, but with a critical distinction. We are not talking about starchy carbohydrates like potatoes, grains, or legumes. We are focusing exclusively on non-starchy fibrous vegetables, the leafy greens, the cruciferous family, and all the other colorful, low glycemic vegetables that should fill the majority of your plate. These foods are your ultimate weapon for dropping insulin and shrinking belly fat for several powerful reasons. First and foremost, they are extremely low in digestible carbohydrates. A massive bowl of spinach or a large plate of broccoli contains so few net carbs that they have a negligible impact on your blood sugar and, consequently, your insulin levels. You can eat these foods in virtually unlimited quantities without triggering the fat storage hormone. But their magic goes far beyond what they don't do. It's about what they actively do inside your body. The primary component of these vegetables is fiber, specifically insoluble and soluble fiber. Soluble fiber, found in foods like Brussels sprouts, asparagus, and broccoli, dissolves in water to form a gel-like substance in your gut. This gel slows down the digestion and absorption of any other foods you've eaten with the vegetable. If you have a meal that contains some carbohydrates, pairing it with a large serving of fibrous vegetables will dramatically blunt the blood sugar and insulin spike from that meal. It acts as a metabolic buffer, smoothing out the hormonal response and preventing the sharp peaks and valleys that drive hunger and fat storage. The second, and perhaps even more fascinating, role of this fiber involves your gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria that live in your colon. This is where the science gets truly revolutionary. The soluble fiber from these vegetables is a prebiotic, meaning it is the preferred food for the beneficial bacteria in your gut. When these good bacteria ferment this fiber, they produce short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, as a metabolic byproduct. The most well-studied of these SCFAs are acetate, propionate, and butyrate. And these are not just waste products, they are potent, signaling molecules with profound effects on your metabolism. Butyrate in particular is a superstar. It is the primary fuel source for the cells lining your colon, promoting a healthy gut barrier and preventing a condition known as leaky gut. which is a major source of chronic inflammation and a contributor to insulin resistance. But even more directly, studies have shown that butyrate improves insulin sensitivity and increases energy expenditure. It activates certain pathways in the brain and liver that signal satiety and promote the burning of fat. In animal studies, butyrate supplementation has been shown to protect against diet-induced obesity and insulin resistance. So, by feeding your gut bacteria with the fiber from non-starchy vegetables, you are essentially turning your gut into a factory that produces its own natural, internal, fat-burning, insulin-sensitizing medicine. This is a far cry from the old, simplistic, calories in, calories out model. We are now talking about a complex, symbiotic relationship where the food you eat directly shapes your internal ecosystem, which in turn governs your hormones and your ability to burn fat. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and kale are especially powerful because they contain specific compounds called glucosinolates, which have been shown to have anti-cancer and detoxifying properties, further reducing the toxic load on your body and supporting overall metabolic health. Leafy greens like spinach, Swiss chard, and arugula are packed with magnesium, a mineral that plays a critical role in glucose metabolism and insulin action, and deficiencies of which are linked to insulin resistance. By making a large, colorful salad or a heaping portion of steamed or roasted non-starchy vegetables, the center of your lunch and dinner, you are flooding your body with nutrients, feeding your beneficial gut bacteria, producing fat-burning SCFAs, and effortlessly crowding out the insulin-spiking foods that have been sabotaging your waistline. We've covered the foundational pillars of fats, proteins, and fibrous vegetables, but there are specific functional foods and powerful compounds that act like special forces, providing a targeted, potent boost to your mission of dropping insulin and shrinking belly fat. Let's start with a common beverage that is anything but common in its metabolic effects: apple cider vinegar. For centuries, vinegar has been used as a folk remedy for all sorts of ailments, and modern science is now confirming its profound effects on blood sugar and insulin. The primary active component is acetic acid. Multiple clinical trials have demonstrated that consuming apple cider vinegar before a meal, particularly a carbohydrate-rich meal, can significantly improve insulin sensitivity and lower the post-meal insulin and blood sugar response. In one study, consuming 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar before a high-carb meal reduced the post-meal blood sugar spike by over 20% compared to a placebo. The mechanisms are multifaceted. Acetic acid seems to slow down the emptying of the stomach, meaning glucose from your meal enters the bloodstream at a slower, more manageable rate. It also appears to inhibit the activity of the enzymes that break down complex carbohydrates into simple sugars in the small intestine, meaning fewer sugars are available for absorption. Furthermore, some research suggests that acetic acid may enhance muscle glucose uptake, effectively helping to shuttle sugar out of the blood and into your muscles without requiring as much insulin. This is a powerful, simple, and inexpensive intervention. Diluting 1 to 2 tablespoons of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar in a large glass of water and drinking it 10 to 20 minutes before your main meals can be a game changer for your metabolic health. Another elite category of functional foods is berries and certain tree nuts. Let's talk about berries first. While most fruits are high in and can be problematic for insulin-resistant individuals, berries like blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries are the exception. They are relatively low in sugar and exceptionally high in fiber and antioxidants. Their deep, vibrant colors come from polyphenol compounds called anthocyanins. These anthocyanins are not just pretty pigments, they are bioactive molecules that have been shown in numerous studies to enhance insulin sensitivity. They work by reducing oxidative stress and inflammation in the body, 2 key enemies of healthy insulin function. Some studies have even shown that regular blueberry consumption can improve the function of the insulin signaling pathways within our cells. Now, onto nuts. Almonds, walnuts, and pistachios are nutritional powerhouses. They are a perfect combination of healthy fats, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated, plant-based protein, and fiber. This macronutrient profile alone makes them excellent for stabilizing blood sugar and insulin. But they also contain magnesium and a host of antioxidants. Studies where participants added a serving of nuts to their daily diet have consistently shown improvements in HbA1c, a long-term marker of blood sugar control, and fasting insulin levels. The combination of fat, protein, and fiber creates a powerful, satiating effect, reducing overall calorie intake later in the day. A small handful of nuts as a snack or sprinkled on a salad is a simple yet highly effective strategy. Finally, we cannot overlook the role of specific spices, with cinnamon and turmeric leading the pack. Cinnamon, particularly Ceylon cinnamon, is famous for its blood sugar lowering effect. Compounds in cinnamon can mimic insulin, increase insulin sensitivity, and slow the breakdown of carbohydrates in the digestive tract. Turmeric, with its active compound curcumin, is one of the most potent anti-inflammatory substances known. Since inflammation is a root cause of insulin resistance, reducing systemic inflammation with turmeric can have a profound downstream effect on your insulin levels and your body's ability to access and burn stored belly fat. Integrating these functional foods, apple cider vinegar, berries, nuts, and anti-inflammatory spices into your daily routine provides a powerful synergistic boost, accelerating your progress and ensuring that your body remains in a fat-burning, insulin-sensitive state throughout the day. Understanding what to eat is only half the battle. The other, equally critical half, is understanding the context and lifestyle factors that orchestrate how your body responds to this powerful nutrition. You can be eating all the right foods, but if you are sabotaging yourself with poor sleep, chronic stress, and a sedentary lifestyle, you will be fighting an uphill battle. Let's start with the profound impact of sleep. When you shortchange yourself on sleep, even for a single night, you wreak havoc on your metabolic hormones. Research has clearly shown that sleep deprivation leads to a sharp decrease in insulin sensitivity. Your cells become resistant to insulin's signal, forcing your pancreas to produce more of it to clear glucose from your blood. In one study, after just 4 hours of sleep for 6 nights, healthy young adults had insulin sensitivity levels that resembled those of prediabetics. Furthermore, sleep deprivation causes a spike in the hunger hormone ghrelin and a suppression of the satiety hormone leptin, leading to increased cravings, particularly for high-carb, sugary foods, the very foods that spike your insulin and grow your belly fat. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality, uninterrupted sleep is not a luxury. It is a non-negotiable pillar of metabolic health. It is during deep sleep that your body performs crucial repair, resets its hormonal systems, and manages inflammation. Think of sleep as the time when your body internalizes all the good work you did with your diet during the day. Next, we must address the silent killer, chronic stress. When you are under constant psychological stress, your body is in a state of fight or flight, which is mediated by the hormone cortisol. Cortisol's evolutionary purpose is to mobilize energy to deal with an immediate threat. It tells your liver to release stored glucose into the bloodstream, and you guessed it, it tells your fat cells to hold on to fat, especially abdominal fat, because that fat has a high concentration of cortisol receptors. In our modern world, the threats are often perpetual work deadlines, financial worries, traffic leading to chronically elevated cortisol levels. This creates a double whammy. High cortisol directly promotes belly fat storage, and it also makes your cells more resistant to insulin. The glucose that cortisol dumps into your bloodstream now requires even more insulin to be cleared. This creates a vicious cycle of high cortisol, high insulin, and expanding waistlines. Therefore, managing your stress is not just about mental well-being, it is a critical metabolic intervention. Practices like daily mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing exercises, walks in nature, or yoga have been proven to lower cortisol levels. By actively engaging in stress reduction techniques, you are sending a powerful signal to your body that the crisis is over, allowing it to lower cortisol, improve insulin sensitivity, and release its death grip on your abdominal fat stores. Finally, we have physical activity. While nutrition is arguably 80% of the battle for fat loss, exercise is the catalyst that amplifies all your efforts. You don't need to become a marathon runner. In fact, excessive chronic cardio can sometimes elevate cortisol. The most effective exercise regimen for improving insulin sensitivity and burning belly fat is a combination of resistance training and high intensity interval training. Resistance training or weightlifting builds lean muscle mass. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. It is your primary site for glucose disposal. The more muscle you have, the more sinks you have to put the glucose from your meals, which means you need less insulin to manage your blood sugar. Every pound of muscle you gain makes you more insulin sensitive. HIIT, on the other hand, involves short bursts of all-out effort, followed by brief recovery periods. This type of training has been shown to dramatically improve insulin sensitivity for up to 24 to 48 hours after the workout is over. It creates a metabolic afterburn effect, where your body continues to burn calories at an elevated rate as it works to restore itself to a resting state. By combining the powerful dietary strategies of healthy fats, quality proteins, and fibrous vegetables with the foundational lifestyle pillars of quality sleep, stress management, and strategic exercise, you are creating a comprehensive, synergistic system. This system doesn't just lower insulin and shrink belly, fat cells temporarily. It rewires your metabolism for long-term health, vitality, and a body that effortlessly maintains its ideal weight. Now, this is a lot of powerful information, and the most important step is to take action. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes real power when you apply it. Don't feel like you have to implement everything at once. That's a recipe for overwhelm. Start with one single change. Maybe it's swapping your breakfast cereal for eggs cooked in butter or coconut oil. Maybe it's committing to a large salad with olive oil-based dressing every day for lunch. Maybe it's simply drinking apple cider vinegar before your biggest meal. Pick one thing, master it for a week, and then add another. Your body is an incredibly complex and resilient system, and it will respond. It has been waiting for you to send it the right signals. If you found this information life-changing, if you feel like you've finally found the missing key to your health struggles, then do me a huge favor. Hit that like button right now, because it tells the YouTube algorithm that this is valuable content that should be shared with more people who are suffering needlessly. And then subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell, because this is just the beginning. We are going to dive even deeper into each of these topics. We'll have meal plans, cooking demonstrations, interviews with experts, and more powerful science-backed information to help you take back control of your health. The journey to reversing insulin resistance, shrinking your belly fat, and unlocking boundless energy starts with a single decision. Make that decision today. Share your own experiences, your questions, and your successes in the comments below. I read every single one, and we are a community here to support each other. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.